If you're tired of temporary solutions to your lower back pain, then stick around because I'm going to share with you 4 restorative yoga poses for lower back pain that will help you reduce your symptoms and improve your mobility. In fact, one of my clients who frequently types all day at a computer went from constant back pain to feeling it barely at all after just a week of practicing this sequence. Practice this video until the end if you want the same result, and give me a like if you're ready to get started. Now, of course, all of our bodies are different, and because I can't see you and I don't know the cause of your lower back pain, I encourage you to use your own inner teacher and inner guidance as we practice together. Practice in a way that feels helpful, safe, and that you won't regret later. You get to decide what's right for you because you know your body best, so feel free to modify any of these positions. The props that you'll need for this restorative yoga video are a bolster or large pillow, 4 blankets, a chair, 2 yoga blocks, and an eye pillow, which is optional. And don't worry if you don't have these exact things. Look around your house and get creative with cushions and bedding. Gather up your props and meet me on your yoga mat. Now, if you don't have a yoga chair like I do, you can simply place your mat close to another chair in your house or even a couch. But first, we're going to begin on the ground in supported supine spinal twist. So grab 3 of your blankets. You may need all 4. It really depends on what your body needs. And we'll take the first blanket, and I folded them like a tight little square. Get yours to about this thickness and this space. This is a 60 by 80 inch blanket, and it gets to this fold by folding it 4 times. So the short ends to meet, the short ends to meet, the short ends to meet, and the short ends to meet creates this blanket. Do the best you can with what you have if you don't have this. You'll place that here at the top end of your mat. I like to place the neatly folded ends toward me. Your head is going to be resting on this, just so you're not irritated by any of the edges of the blanket. And then from that exact same fold, we'll open it up so it becomes more like a rectangle shape. And then simply fold that so we have a rectangle fold blanket. Place this down at the bottom end of your mat and do the exact same thing to 1 more blanket. And that is going to go behind you where the edge of this blanket for your head meets, and then off your mat straight out to the side. Finally, we'll grab the bolster here and place this on the other side of the mat from this blanket in front for your legs, and this is going to cradle your back. So sitting on your left hip, let's come down to about the middle of the mat and stack your knees and your feet so that they're in 90-degree angles, and then sandwich that blanket in between, all the way down from your ankles to the knees so that you have softness running through. Lie down on your left shoulder with your head supported. Now you'll notice if your head tends to tip downward, you probably need more support for your head with this blanket. So I'm going to come back up and fold this 1 more time and do a recheck. That feels so much better. So really ensure that you fully support your head and neck here. You'll enjoy the practice so much more when you just take a few moments to do that. Extend your left arm long. Your right arm's going to be on top. Take the inhale here, and then exhale and open up into your twist. Reach down and snug the bolster all the way from your hips to the space just underneath your armpit. And then the right arm rests on top of the blanket behind you. Now notice if it's hanging in space and it's not touching the blanket, you need more blankets or a thicker fold underneath that arm. So don't be afraid to add more as you need through this practice. Restorative yoga is so individual for all of our bodies. So do what you need so that you are fully supported with no hanging body parts. Now that you're there, you can either gaze up or over to the left, any place that feels comfortable for your head and your neck. And perhaps if it is comfortable, close your eyes. Feel yourself arrive in the shape, releasing all muscular tension from the legs, the hips, and the heart. And let your breath be natural. And stay present to any sensations that you notice. Just tracking sensation as you feel it, not getting caught up in it, just allowing it to be. We'll rest for some time in each position, in silence. Know that I'll keep time for you and bring you out. Bring your awareness into your right fingers, and then into the right palm. And take an inhale. Lift the whole right arm slowly up and back to the left, coming out of the twist. Rest for a moment here. Moving very slow, push your palm into the floor and inhale, press your way upright, sideways. We'll squeeze the blanket in between the legs, rotate onto the back. Then move the bolster over to the other side, as well as the blanket for your arm. Now lie back down, but this time on your right hip. Ensure that you have your right knee underneath your left, the feet are stacked as well, and then lower down onto your right shoulder. Support your head. Scoot the bolster up against your back body till you feel hugged. And then from that space, inhale and reach your left arm behind you, opening into the twist. Same thing here, if your left arm is higher or off the ground or not touching the blanket, give it some extra support. And then place your head in a space that feels comfortable. And release all tension in your face, your chest, and your legs. Especially noticing if you're gripping into the knees, the calves, or the ankles. And just take an exhale and release all of that grip from the body. Become the witness to your experience. Notice that you are the one experiencing your body. And if at any time during the rest of this practice you feel a sharpness, a tingling, a numbness, listen to your inner teacher, modify the position, or come out. Breathe naturally as we rest now in silence. Travel your awareness to your left fingertips, your left palm. And then inhale and gently lift the arm up overhead and back to the right. Arriving out of the twist with your upper body, just rest for a moment. And then slide the blanket out from between the knees. And use your hands to press up to a seat. Nice and slow. Letting those transitions be just as potent as the pose. And once you're upright, we will make our way to legs up the chair. So we won't need the bolster for this, set that to the side. But we will likely need some blankets. So the first blanket is a bigger unfold of the blanket so that you have some softness underneath you on the floor, underneath your tailbone and your sacrum. So I'm going to unfold it until it's this wide rectangle shape and place that in the middle of my mat. Then I'll find the blanket that I was using for my head, and we're going to make a special headrest blanket. Feel free to just use this or a lower fold if that works for you, but if not, I'll show you a sweet way to support your head in this position. So take that blanket. From that square shape, you'll fold it about 2 inches to the other edge, so there's some space in between. Then get all the wrinkles out because you won't want to feel those underneath your head. From here, take the top 2 edges and tuck them under. So you start to end up with something like that. Then take the bottom 2 edges and do the exact same thing. So tucking under. So you start to end up with something like this. This is going to come at one end of your mat. And finally, you'll take the top 2 wings and fold those underneath, and then push your palm into that indentation. That's where your head's gonna be, and your shoulders will rest on this lip while these folds of the blanket cradle your neck. So this is completely optional, but a really nice touch, especially if you know that you need some neck support when you lie on your back. Now you'll come to your chair. So I'm using the yoga chair, so I'll bring that to my mat now. And if you are using a chair like this, make sure that it's on the sticky mat so that it doesn't slide. If you've got a couch or another chair, you can use that too. And the final thing here is you might need a couple extra blankets to stack up the height of the chair, depending on how high or low your chair is. For me, I know that I need 2 blankets on the chair, and I'll show you why. So I'll place these here now, and then sit with your feet to one side off of the chair and your hips on the ground, and then just lean back and swing your legs up. Now walk really close to that chair so that your hips are 90 degrees underneath your knees or as close as possible. And the reason why I need extra support here is because I'm tall. So you might not need this, but you want your shins to be level and not floating down or up. You would like them to be ankles in line with your knees as best you can. Then from that space, lower back. And nestle your head into the cradle of the headrest blanket. You can fiddle with it a little bit more to make sure that you're completely supported. One of the other great things about the headrest blanket is that it curves up so that your head cannot roll side to side, and that tends to help keep you awake if you tend to fall asleep easily when you're on your back. All right, ensure that when you are here, there is a curve in your back. You're not pushing or pressing your muscles in any way or your low back into the floor. We're gonna let gravity do the work to release the lower back tension. Arms come to a V, palms face up. If it's comfortable, close the eyes, or you could apply the eye pillow now if you like. And go right into the space of your inner thighs, where the hip flexors are, the psoas muscles are, that connect the top half of the body with the bottom half of our body. We're giving them space and time to soften. And these muscles can contribute to back pain. So tell your inner leg muscles in the creases of the hips that attach to the back, tell that whole area to let go. Let go, release. They don't need to do anything here for you but relax. Rest in stillness, softening your whole face. I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Become aware of the deep sense of relaxation and peace in the pelvis. Maybe there's a stiffness here too. Whatever you're feeling is valid and okay because it's your practice, your body. will start to come out by bending the knees in toward the chest. You can drag the heels along the chair, and eventually you can come so far in that they might slide off of the chair itself. Pressing your low back all the way into the floor. It might feel nice to take your hands to your knees and rock side to side, or you could just rest here. Drop your knees to either side onto the ground, whatever feels best. Extend that arm overhead and roll onto the arm for support. And just rest. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. And push down into the floor and start to rise very slowly to sit up. Now, if you have a chair on your mat like I do, you're going to need to remove that now. Or you could just simply come away a little bit from whatever you were using with your mat. We'll transition next into supported reclining hero with ramped bolster. So grab your bolster and your 2 blocks. Let's move this blanket that's off the mat as well. Not on the mat, off the mat, just for a moment. Grab your blocks, your bolster, and we're going to create a bolster ramp. So take the high block, that's the very highest height that you can get your block, tip that up in the middle of your mat, and then we'll take either a medium or a low block. So low here, medium here, whatever's going to work best with your bolster or your pillow that you're using, or maybe even blankets if you're using that in place of your bolster. So I will set mine up like so. And what you're going to do here is place, sometimes you have to get these blocks in just the right spot so that it really holds the bolster. You're going to place a couple of these folded blankets. That rectangle fold shape is going to go on either side of the mat. And in fact, you may want to double rectangle fold them because your elbows are going to be held a little bit farther off the ground because your back is going to be leaning on this bolster. So a couple of those rectangle shaped blankets, maybe double rectangle, and allow those to come out diagonally from either side of the bolster. Then find another blanket, open it up until just it's one rectangle fold, and place that all the way along the bolster with a little bit of the lip of that coming down and filling in the gap in the space of the bolster. Now finally, you might find here that you need some extra support for your head. So I'm going to deconstruct my headrest blanket and fold this up one more time, place that at the very top. You'll see what you need once we get into it. Now I will face away from the bolster and separate my feet to either side. You start to kneel, but then take your thumbs and your hands into the tops of your calves. Pull down with the muscles, roll out with the calves, and then sit down in between that space. Now, if this isn't comfortable or available to you today, there's a couple of things you can do. You can find another block and sit on top of the block. Books is also a nice alternative. You can find a pillow or another blanket to elevate your pelvis. So do what you need to do here to make sure that that feels comfortable and safe for your knees. Knees should not be talking here to you at all. This is a huge stretch here for the quadriceps. It could be depending on how tight you are. So you will want to meet that with the height of what you're leaning against. So just very carefully push your hands into the ground. Inhale, lift up through your crown. Tilt your tailbone forward. Tuck it forward. Now lean back. Adjust your head on the blanket and see. If this feels like a significant, huge stretch, your body is not going to be able to relax. In fact, this may be aching your low back here. In that case, you'll want to lean up even more. So I suggest putting the bolster against the chair, bringing the ramp up to you. In other words, always bring yourself upward, the props to meet you, not you down to meet the props. So this is pretty good for me today. So I'm gonna stay here and readjust this blanket under my head so that I feel like my forehead is higher than my chin. And then my arms come down by the sides and the arms rest, elbows and hands on the blankets. Again, do a check-in with yourself. Ensure that the shoulders are loosening downward and outward, that it doesn't feel like there's a significant tension in your quads or in your back. Maybe you might feel a little light awareness of energy, but certainly not deep stretch. And that's what makes restorative yoga so unique from other styles, is we let the body relax. And that is how we calm the nervous system to calm our pain. So find yourself in a space that feels appropriate for you. And then relax. Rest in silence. To come out of this pose, first start to become aware of any sensation of openness across your chest, openness across your thighs, spacious openness in the whole torso. And then we'll open the eyes if they were closed and place the palms down either to the blankets or to the floor. Take an exhale. Feel your abdomen turn on. Tighten those muscles gently, then draw your chin in toward your chest and inhale, push up. Now keep going forward into table. Palms meet the ground, knees walk back. You can be wide on either side of the props here. Stretch your legs back one at a time. Tuck the toes under, stretch through the whole back of the leg. And then take that knee down and do the same to the other. Just encouraging blood flow and circulation back into the knees. Once you feel satisfied with that, and you feel like your legs have come alive once more, then we'll simply come to either kneeling or to a seat so that we can set up for our final pose, basic relaxation pose. We'll remove the bolster ramp, but take the bolster for underneath the knees. It will go widthwise across the mat, and you may or may not want one of these blocks to support underneath it, and I'll show you that in a moment, so just leave that block to the side. And then find your blanket and roll it up until you've got a nice long blanket roll, and place that at the bottom edge of the mat. This will be a lift for your ankles. And then finally, let's come back into the headrest blanket or whatever blanket you enjoyed using for your head that felt really supportive for you. So I'm tucking under the sides of the top part of the blanket, then tucking under the bottom, tucking the wings at the back under, and just making a little indentation for the head. There's about a couple inches of space with this bottom edge of the blanket, and that will help to support the tops of your shoulders. Keep your eye pillow handy here if you'd like to apply it. And of course, we have extra blankets to keep warm, so you might choose to place a blanket across your whole body. Come to lie down on your back with your knees over the bolster and the edges of your ankles hooked underneath the lip of the rolled blanket. And then lie down with your head supported in the headrest blanket. Now, as you find yourself here, you may find, maybe my low back is irritated when I'm here. It doesn't feel like it can let go and release, in which case it's a good bet that you need your knees higher. So that's where this block comes in handy. Take your block, place it in between you and the bolster, and tip that bolster up on edge. So you can see it's completely held by the block. Then you still hook your ankles here. My knees are definitely higher than my ankles, and I'm going to come back down. And you'll want your legs to be wide so you're not touching the block underneath you. Once you get fully settled, hands, palms face up if that's comfortable. You can also explore palms face down and arms wide into a V, wider than you think. Wide so that your shoulders can relax, your legs can relax, and your low back isn't talking to you at all. So let's take 3 rounds of bigger breath in through the nose and big breath out through the mouth with a sighing sound. Just letting everything go and relaxing. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, make the sound from the back of the throat, relaxing the lips. Last time. Release all effort in the breath, all effort in the body. Really let go. Trust that you're supported. Trust that in time, you can calm your body and experience less physical pain in your lower back. And recall a time when you didn't feel this pain, if you can think of a time. Visualize what it would be like to not feel this pain, and bring that hopefulness with you into your final rest. I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Bathe yourself in the feeling of being at ease. Offer gratitude for this time of release, of letting go, of welcoming in a new possibility that you are not your pain. You're just experiencing it. Bend one knee at a time into your heart, setting your feet on the bolster maybe, and then drop the knees to one side, rock to a hip, resting on your side for a moment, maybe cradling your head in your arms. And use an inhale very slowly to press up to a seat. Come to whatever seat feels comfortable for you. Place your hands now together at your heart. Breathing into any sensations that might feel new here in your whole body. And just giving yourself time and space to move into what's next. As you finish up this practice, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell button so that you can get notified every week when I post new restorative yoga videos. And as always, it means a lot if you give this video a like. Head on over to my website if you want to sign up for my free e-letter for even more restorative yoga practices to embody deep rest and self-acceptance. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.